What's up guys, KPlaysHere. Today we get the Wilds trailer for Sword and Shield, and after saying this a couple days ago, Sword and Shield users might not have to cry if oils don't get shut again for the 10th time since Generations. And seeing the trailer today, I just want to say,
we're sorry. We're sorry.
Sorry for jinxing it guys. No oily swords this time if the trailer is to be believed. At least we got an official confirmation of Rathalos being in the game from this. That's not helping? Is this a sore spot? Yeah, okay, I'll stop. But seriously, Sword and Shield is looking pretty clean here. One of the OG weapons and an OG gear set. It's fitting. As far as the actual teaser goes though, you guys are really gonna have to help me out in the comments with this one, because like yesterday's light bowgun video, this really does just seem like classic Sword and Shield with a few extra Wilds flavored touches. That's been the case for the last few showcases actually. At this point, I'm starting to think that Hunting Horn and Gunlance just stole the show with how hyped they were, and they're the exception to the rule. There are definitely some new things to pick through here though, so let's get started. The first thing to note here is the fact that Sword and Shield seems to share the ability to strafe from side to side during its combos with Longsword. The focus mode video led me to think that this might have been that feature exclusive to turning on that extra precision for Sword and Shield, but for what we're seeing here, it's actually just a default ability. For a weapon this versatile, the extra maneuverability is really just icing on the cake. In the next clip, we get to see a bit of the Shield offensive gameplay, because let's be real, when you abbreviate to SNS, the second S in the name might as well stand for smack monsters in the face. If you look closely, you'll catch the visual effects for fire elemental damage on just the sword attacks, meaning that the shield hits again will deal raw damage only. They may or may not also not consume sharpness like they currently don't in 5th gen, but we'll have to see about that next week. For now, the footage we've got still has some pretty interesting things in store. This gap closing slide attack, for example, is another move that'll be great for pressuring monsters non-stop. This could also be another move on loan for Frontier, where they also used it for similar distance closing purposes. Who cares about short reach if there's never any space between you and the monster anyway? Moving on though, let's jump around out of order for a second. This next clip has Sword and Shield using its essentially strapped on brass knuckles to block an attack, showing it still has one of the lighter blocks in the game. Until you get to this clip, that is. Just compare the difference between these two blocks. With one, if you hold your guard in anticipation of getting hit, you will get knocked over, but you will take some knockback. Throwing up your guard at the last second, on the other hand, is accompanied by the special flash and lets you stand your ground to attack back immediately. Same move was blocked and everything, so I think this is pretty much a confirmation of the perfect guarding mechanic for shield weapons in WoW. We do have one more of those to go with Lance sometime in the next few days, which should definitely give us more evidence of this. For Sword and Shield though, this will be pretty useful for allowing you to actually use your shield for defense without investing a lot of skills into it. Getting back into the clips in order, we get a brief demo of the weapon's unique ability to use items unsheathed. They are keeping with the 5th gen animation of magically teleporting your sword out of your hand instead of using your shield hand to keep your sword hand free like in past games, which is unfortunate, but admittedly a minor nitpick. Sword and Shield already has a pretty fast sheathing speed, so this doesn't seem like a big thing at first, but the difference in movement speed between this and the sheath potion drinking we saw in the basic mechanics video is where you can really see the advantage. This will be nice in a pinch for taking or maybe sharing your heals and buff items on the fly. But if you ask me, I'd like to see this being used with traps and bombs again for the old school stylish bombing Sword and Shield playstyle. Creative play like that was always pretty fun to watch. For a more new school technique though, if we looked at the focus mode attack, we see the hunter latch on for a rising slash into a falling shield drop. Not quite the Metsu Shorigeki's Silkbind attack from Rise, but it's promising for that move to maybe show up later if we have another shield drop already in the game. A lot of the other weapons have already gotten some form of counter attack or another, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see it. After that though, we get to see the hunter midway through Sword and Shield's other new toy for 5th gen, the Perfect Rush combo. From what I remember, that was an amazing damage tool with the right timing, so you Sword and Shield users out there should be glad to see it return. Since it was shown only for a quick second, we don't know if it's still a follow-up to the back hop, but again, and I'm just saying it at this point because it's exciting to think about, we'll see in a week. Lastly, the trailer ends with the hunter flipping the blade into an underhand grip before jumping forwards and stabbing it down through the monster. No clue where this move fits into the moveset without more context, but since it's the last attack shown in the trailer, it's most likely the ending to a clash or cinematic counterattack like the other videos. After the first few trailers, not every weapon has shown these, but enough have that I think my theory on those still holds up. As a sort of jack-of-all-trades class in Monster Hunter, I wouldn't be surprised if Sword and Shield could both counter and clash, especially since aside from the possible perfect guard tricks, it is still pretty light on the blocking side compared to the other shielded weapons. With that though, we've got only a couple more to go. Sword and Shield looks pretty solid, both figuratively and literally in fact. Those of you that had more hands-on experience with the weapon than me have to let me know if I'm onto something here or just seeing things, but going over this footage it almost feels like they've slowed down Sword and Shield a bit and made its hits more hefty. Could just be the shift from watching the more weightless animation style of Rise weapons to the more grounded hit stop of the main team's Monster Hunter games, but I digress. 4 more to go. bow, dual blades, lance, and switch axe. Which one are you guys hoping to see next? Were you impressed by the one we saw today? Let me know down below. Until tomorrow though guys, this has been another KPlays and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.